Hello friends, welcome once again to this your Blessend Crochet channel. This time I show you how to knit is new crochet elastic. I hope you like it. Looks super cute. On the upside down side, this is how it will look like. What do you think? Well, you would like to know how to weave it. Join me from start to finish in this video. For this I am going to use a 3mm crochet. We are going to use this type of material on this occasion. Her name is Katia, is more or less from Dell. Number 3.5. Here the supplier tells us about 3.5 mm. But you can use any type of wool you have close to home, and most importantly that fits your grandmother's needs. For this I have used 108 rounds for a shoulder elastic. Yes, if you want to make a smaller elastic is very easy. You are going to start knitting it. And you will measure as always the diameter of the person to whom you are going to knit it. And look how beautiful it looks. It looks like it is woven into 2 holes. But it is fully crocheted well. Let's start, but before we start, I want to thank you that you clicked to watch this video. Thank you very much. And especially to all the people who have already left me a support. Those little hands up. Remember friends who, by supporting me, leaving those little hands up for me is a great blessing. Because thanks to this I can continue to create more beautiful content with a lot of encouragement for all of you. We start. I am going to start. I secure my first stitch and let's knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 y 12 chain stitches. With the number 3 crochet we are going to make 1 more chain stitch. And in the previous stitch chain I start knitting single stitch. Next chain stitch, taking only half of the chain stitch, single stitch. Next single stitch. Single stitch, and look, we are just taking half of it. Of chain stitch and weaving single stitch. Next single stitch. Single stitch, single stitch. Y single stitch. And so on until the end. Once completed, let's do the following. This is the last stitch. I make a chain stitch, and in this stitch I make a chain stitch. Twist and you slip stitch. Next, taking only half of the chain stitch. Next slip stitch. Slip stitch, but look, we just took half of our chain stitch. We have 1 and 2. And only taking half as much. Next slip stitch. Slip stitch. Next slip stitch, and so on. Until the end of this already round number 2. Slip stitch, slip stitch, slip stitch. Y slip stitch. A chain stitch. This is the last stitch. I'm going to take only half of the chain stitch of the one in front of us. Look. I start knitting single stitch 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, taking only half of the chain stitch 7. 8, 9. 10. 11. And this stitch, friends, should not be forgotten. It is a little bit small or hidden, but it must be taken. 12 as follows. I make a chain stitch. This was the last stitch. This one. And for this round number 3 we are going to knit slip stitch. Next slip stitch, and always taking only half of our chain stitch. Slip stitch. To the end. Slip stitch y slip stitch. Once the whole round is over, I do a chain stitch. This is round number 5. I take this first stitch, or the one that was the good one, the last one let's knit him single stitch 1, next single stitch, and just taking half of our chain stitch 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we must not forget this last stitch that remains here, because if not, it will begin to decrease. We do lift it well. And we weave stitch number 12. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 rounds. We are going for round number 6. I make a chain stitch, and in my last stitch, taking only half, I start knitting slip stitch, slip stitch, slip stitch, and so on until the end of the whole round. And so we will be weaving as much as we need it. Are we going to go a lit lead, or in this case I am going to go a lit lead? And let's remember, 1 round is single stitch and 1 round is de slip stitch. 1 single stitch and 1 slip stitch, and in each round count down so that we don't miss any stitch. Yes. If we start with 12 stitches, we have to end with 12 stitches. And if we are 1 point short, we need to turn back a little bit to see where we lost that stitch. I made the round in single stitch, and this one follows is the slip stitch round. And this is how we will be left aside. And this is how it will look on the other. I want to show you here what I have at a disadvantage, and take a look at, friends, is elastic. And we are going to weave as much as everyone needs it. In this case, for example, I have left this elastic 4. And we are going to see how we are going to count our elastic, how we are going to know how many rounds we have. Well, here, this round, this one we have here counts as a round. This one looks like a chain stitch. It is round number 2 that is halfway through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on the upside down side. Look at this is how it looks on us. If this is the upside down side, and this is the good front side, for nothing I have left 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86. And 87. Yes, then let's leave them other than par 87. And to close, we are going to make our 88th round so that they are already in pairs. I will pass first here the crochet, and in this first stitch, I'm going to take it. Look here, we have our stitch. Yes. Well, let's take our stitch. I've already passed on the other side. And what we are going to do is with a loop, let's pass those 2 little dots up to here first. Now I'm going to move on to the next stitch on one side. Next stitch here on the other side. And I'm going to make a slip stitch. Next stitch on one side. Next stitch of the other, but only taking our half of the chain stitch. And I slip stitch. Next on the one hand, just taking half the chain stitch. On the other side. And slip stitch, and so on. We will continue to weave until the end, with the closing of all stitches. From one side to the other and slide. From one side to the other we slide. One side the other we slide. And look what you think, it's true that it's easy, my friends. Good. Would you like to knit this elastic? Leave me your comment below. If you would like to knit this elastic. And I also ask for your support with a like. Look how it has turned out. What do you think? And from now on, we can weave the stitch we need. Beautiful elastic, super easy to knit. And what do you think is good? With this I say goodbye as always. I hope it has been to your liking. If you liked it, support me by sharing on your social networks, with your family and friends, in your Facebook groups. See you in the following video.